dear ministers and excellencies, dear social partners, my dear Commissioner Šuica, she was not here, but I'm so happy that we were also joined by her in this forum. As I also said yesterday in our first engagement, Porto is so important in the political geography of Europe. It is the city of Europe's social ambition, and the place that we gather also to be able to take our social agenda forward, taking into consideration the current challenges and realities. Now, in the beginning of the mandate of the current Commission, we have adopted the Competitiveness Compass. And ever since, indeed, competitiveness has been our buzzword. Where are we going with Europe, with our economy, and at what speed? And a lot of tools and debate has been put around this term. While we all embrace this as existential, as fundamental for the prosperity of our European Union, I think we also need to look at our social compass. And our social compass, for sure, is the European Pillar of Social Rights. Because while the Competitiveness Compass is about the direction and the speed with which we want Europe to travel, the social compass, the European Pillar of Social Rights, makes sure that we all get there and not just a few. And I think this is what European citizens really care about. That when we discuss about the competitiveness, the investments, the advancements in technology that we want in AI, in raw materials, in manufacturing, in automotive, in agriculture, in transport, that it is reflected in the working conditions, in the motivation of the workers in those sectors, and in the prosperity of every citizen. So in this spirit, I will appreciate that the discussions and the conversations that took place yesterday and take place today are happening. Of course, we all agree, and I will not stress too much that the European social model is part of our unique selling point in the global competition. But it is important to understand that we need to adapt to the current realities with our social model. And that means not adapt in the sense of giving up, of reducing rights, but in the sense of being able to understand how do we make sure that the right to training or the access to training, to skills, is connected with the competitive sectors that Europe has a chance to lead, where Europe can generate more turnover. It is important to look at how we adjust to AI in the productivity, in the technological flows, but also in the management of people. How do we make it so that it is embraced both by small and big companies, but also by workers alike? It is important to look, and when we look at the European Pillar of Social Rights, to look at what does it mean to have a social right in terms of regions that are affected by climate change. What does it mean to have access to water, to electricity? But the topic of the discussions today and yesterday is quality jobs. And I think what is important is to reflect how essential quality jobs are for the competitiveness of Europe. How can any sector be competitive if it lacks skilled workforce, motivated workforce that is available to support that sector? This needs to be a shared discussion between the employers and the workers, between member states and the European institutions, that quality jobs are absolutely critical for the success of any industrial sector in our Europe. It is not just about technology, not just about capital. More importantly, however, I would propose that we analyze the importance of quality jobs from the perspective of our democracies and of the feasibility and future of our political project of the European Union. We can see that this illusionment, that this connection that many Europeans sense with what we are doing in the public arena, in the elections, in their messages. We need to be able to reconnect, and of course the way that we reconnect is by showing that we focus to provide good working conditions, fair remunerations, safe workplaces, just to name a few. So this is important, the dimension and the strategic role of quality jobs in supporting our democracy in Europe, in supporting the future of our political project of the European Union. I think we also need to look, because we've just proposed the budget for the next period, 2028-2034, at the importance of investing together. And here my message is, of course, also to member states. We invest from European level with European funds, but the effort is also, of course, on the member states. Together we need to look at social investment, like an investment with the most important of return. An investment in people, in the quality of the training, in the quality of the workplace is essential. And that is also an important part of our conversation. In the end, of course, what we reflected upon also is the idea that beyond the 3 Porto targets that we have, that charter our action, focus our action, member states, European institutions towards 2030 to fight poverty, to increase employment, to increase training for adults, we need to converse, to talk, to reflect about what it would mean to have a measurable target or indicators, let's see, on quality jobs. Because while we see that in Europe the number of jobs has increased, poverty has also increased. In-work poverty has not disappeared. We need to define the importance of social dialogue in the quality of jobs, especially with the advent of AI and algorithms in the workplace. It's ever more crucial that we have strong social dialogue so that we are able to harness the benefits of AI, but have a human-centric approach as well for the workforce. So many challenges that need to be reflected in the idea of a quality job that could be measured, not defined. Could it be measured? Could it not? It is a question. It is important that we reflect upon it, because just having precarious jobs is not enough. There are sectors that offer good working conditions, good jobs. There are sectors that can offer only precarious jobs. So it is our role as policymakers to reflect and to find ways to act on this, not just to, of course, support a theoretical, let's say, debate on quality jobs. Of course, as you know, in December we will launch, the European Commission will launch the Quality Jobs Roadmap and a proposal for a Quality Jobs Act, reflecting on the important dimensions that I've mentioned. This is an important message on our side, but the debate, I think, is much wider and much more important. And it has a political, a social, and economic dimension, as I've tried to emphasize. I would conclude by quoting a former president of this beautiful country, our host of Portugal, Mário Soares, the architect of Portugal's European integration. It's a beautiful, simple, clear quote, that progressive societies must necessarily be societies imbued with freedom, justice, and well-being for all citizens and not just for some. And this is the spirit of Porto, and I hope this is the spirit of our work together. Thank you again, and I wish you a successful debate.
Thank you very much, Madam Executive Vice President.